This is a DARKBEAM branded ultraviolet flashlight, and it is model number B61 or B61. It says UV is 365 nanometers, so that's still UVA, but that is getting close to where it's difficult to see with the human eye, and so that does a real good job of causing things to fluoresce in the dark. It's not quite as good for curing UV resin, like maybe a 395 would be what you'd use for that. But this is great if you're looking for scorpions out in the desert, or you want to see something fluorescent paint, that type of stuff. Now, I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, it would cost you between $12 and $16. They haven't paid me for my review, so my opinions remain my own. So in the box, we have a little user's manual. We have a charging cable, which is a USB-A to C cable, and we have the flashlight itself. So the flashlight has a single on-off button here. When it's on, the button turns or shows green through it, and it just turns on and off. So there's no modes, it's just on or off. That's kind of nice, actually. So one other feature this flashlight has is your pull to zoom. So you can make it have a wide beam or zoom it in to have a really narrow beam. It has an input for 5 volts, and it has just a USB-C input plug for charging. It also has a little danger sticker here, caution, do not look directly at UV light. So UV light can sunburn your eyes. If you're wearing UV protective glasses or sunglasses, that's fine, but in general, point this away from you, don't point it at people's faces. The flashlight here has a clip. I believe it is a removable clip. Yep, it is. So it's a removable clip that you can take off or you can put back on, and that will allow you to clip it to a pocket or a shirt pocket. And there is at the end here a screw-off little cap with a spring, and inside is what looks very much, yes, it is a 18650 battery, 3.7 volt battery. So it is a easily user replaceable battery. So I like that. A couple of years this battery starts getting low capacity, you can just buy a new battery and put a new battery in this guy. So we're in a dark room, and I have swatches of ultraviolet reactive paint here. This flashlight puts out a pretty good sized beam. It's brighter than a lot of the small tiny handheld flashlights I've seen before, and you can see it causes this fluorescent paint to fluoresce quite well, and it maintains that fluorescence a little while after you turn it off. So this cloth is 95% bamboo and 5% spandex, and you can actually see the whole cloth light up here because I have this pretty close, but if I get it farther away, you'll see that the spandex fibers are very fluorescent here, and the bamboo fibers are not as fluorescent, so you can see very clearly where the spandex fibers are showing through there. So they have a little green, it looks like a cobra snake on the button of this flashlight that lights up when the light is on. Alright, so it doesn't have any frills, it's just an ultraviolet flashlight. I'm going to charge this guy up and we will see what type of runtime we get out of it. So this is a plug from a USB-C power delivery charger. And a lot of times these small devices with a USB-C port, they won't actually do power delivery negotiation. So let's see if this guy does. Oh, good. It is doing power delivery negotiation. So it's negotiated power delivery. It's charging 5 volts. It's drawing 5 or 0.5 amps right now. And so this guy will charge correctly off of a USB-C power delivery charger. So while it's charging, we have a red flashing light on the Cobra button on the flashlight. All right, we have a solid green light, which indicates fully charged. All right, it is 2:49 p.m. We are turning this ultraviolet light on, and we have the time-lapse camera here watching everything. And so the manual said 3 to 6 hours of runtime, and we're going to watch the time-lapse and see how long until the beam starts getting small. So looking at the time-lapse footage, we had about 2.5 to 3 hours of a good beam, and then it went downhill pretty quick. So I'm going to say basically 3 hours is about the maximum lifetime on the beam with the battery that comes with the unit. and it's giving me a flashing red light on the switch. Now normally, to test the capacity of a USB powered device, I would discharge it all the way and then charge it up with my USB power meter, but since this device has a user removable battery, I'm just going to do a capacity test directly on the cell. Alright, I'm going to have this guy charge up and then it will do a discharge test and recharge it, and when we come back tomorrow morning we should know the exact capacity in milliamp hours of this 18650 cell. Alright, this cell measures in at 1900 milliamp hours of capacity. That's pretty reasonable for an inexpensive flashlight like this. If you wanted more capacity, you could purchase a 2500 or 2700 milliamp cell and replace it out, but I think I'd just use this for a couple of years until it stops serving its needs before you pay extra for a better cell. So yeah, at this price point, this is a very capable ultraviolet flashlight. Has USB-C charging that works with power delivery, has the clip, you can remove it, user replaceable 18650 battery, a reasonable capacity battery comes in it from the factory. So if you're looking for a 365 nanometer UV flashlight, I think this is a really good option. Now there's a few features it doesn't have in that it's slightly large. You can put it in a pocket, but it's a little large. So if you're looking for a smaller flashlight, DARKBEAM does have smaller options. It does not have a magnetic attachment point where you can stick it to metal. It only has the ultraviolet light. It doesn't have any other white or red lights. DARKBEAM does make a smaller flashlight that has all those extra features. Not quite as much battery capacity, but there is another DARKBEAM flashlight that has some other options. Not as bright as this guy, definitely not at longer range, doesn't have the zoom, but it is easier to carry around and it has some white and red lights on it as well as dual UV, so it has 365 and 395. So that's another option if you want something smaller than this with a little less light output.